I'll tell you, I'm going to make an observation. I haven't actually seen a good alternative offered, other than to say that command and control is bad. And then we have some set of vague notions of how things you could have distributed decision making that's somehow better, but it all kind of stays in a very vague world, at least in my view. And it comes up, and it then becomes described in some sort of a notion of an enlightened modern manager who gives people objectives and says, now you're the owner, you're empowered, now please go do that, and I don't even care how you do it, as long as you get it done, you're the owner of it. Well, the lean leadership that I've experienced, whether it was back in Toyota on a good day or wherever, it's neither of these. It's equally different from that commonly accepted notion of the enlightened modern manager. And although you can see from a drive-by in one day that it's not command and control, I mean, if you go into a good lean operation, you'll see people out there clearly making decisions, solving problems on their own volition, on their own initiative. Clearly, there's not command and control exactly going on there. But you have to kind of stick around a little bit longer and peel back some layers to see that it's also not just a matter of just turning everyone loose and saying, okay, now you're empowered. Here's your objectives. I don't care how you do it. The good lean mentors I've had would never say, I don't care how you do it. I desperately want to hear how you plan to do it. Because my job is to mentor you to another level. And for me to do that, I need to understand your thinking. I need to hear your thinking. So I never just step back and have a laissez-faire approach. Not telling someone what to do with command and control doesn't mean just abandonment. It doesn't mean I won't roll up my sleeves with you and think about what the situation is. So let's just explore that just a little bit. It's a little bit short today. I have two words up there, responsibility and authority. And the reason I put them up there is because we usually try to think of those two things as coming together in a nice, tight ball. We write about that in books. We teach about that in business schools. In business school, we'll say never give your subordinate the responsibility for something without also giving them the authority for it. And in fact, no one likes to have responsibility for something when you don't have authority, when you're not authorized to make decisions. I understand that. It is very uncomfortable. However, what we've done is made a very simplistic leap to maintaining that these can be one and the same thing. They're two very different things, and you have to think of them differently. And what we usually do in companies is spend all our time and energy focusing on the authority, the authorization side, which just leads to debate and fights and territorialism, as opposed to the responsibility side. Okay? So, to give you a quick, and I'm sorry time is so short. So I worked in Toyota City for 5 years. When I arrived there in 1983, I was the only non-Japanese there. So it was me and 70,000 Japanese. I spoke a little bit of Japanese language. And my job was to help Toyota figure out for the first time how to transfer its production and management system overseas in a holistic fashion. So I was there for 5 years trying to do that. And in that 5 years, almost never was I given a solution. Almost never. The funny thing is, it took me 3 years to notice that. Strange as that sounds, it took me this is absolutely true. It took me 3 years to notice. At the same time, I wasn't free to just do what I wanted. And after about the 3-year point, I noticed this. I said, well, this is strange. No one's really telling me what to do, but I'm not free to just do what I want to, so it's not bottom up, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen before I went there. But it wasn't really top down either. I said, well, this is very curious. I lay awake at night trying to figure this out. How does this work? So I finally went to my boss one day about the 3-year point, and he said something to me, which I think is an absolute human truism. I think it has nothing to do with Japan, nothing to do with Toyota. He said after a long, torturous conversation of him using the Socratic method and me trying to work through what he was trying to teach me. He said, John, whenever you tell someone what to do, you take the responsibility for that action away from them. And I think that has to be absolutely true. Now, I know there's a yeah, but there, right? So I'm not saying go back to work tomorrow and stop telling people what to do. It's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying there's a dynamic here that's often kind of hidden and undiscussed. It goes without being discussed. But it's absolutely true. When you tell someone what to do, you take the responsibility, the ownership away from them. And yet, at work, is it not true that we want people to take initiative, to take ownership, to take responsibility? And if we could just get people to do that, things are going to start getting better, right? Starting right away. And yet the way we manage, the way we structure ourselves, the way we manage works against that every single moment of every day, is what I'm going to suggest. Or that's my hypothesis for you. That's one of the things I think I learned. But here's what I was given. Clear responsibility to propose solutions to problems I owned. I wasn't free to do what I wanted at all. Okay? When I arrived there, I was given a problem, a blank sheet of paper, and a mentor assigned to me. And I was able to propose things of what I thought should take place to make a situation better. And as I was able to propose better and better, I was able to generate more and more of my authorization. That made me the entrepreneurial owner of problems that I owned. And again, time is a bit of... So this is something I think that we can do if we want to do it, and then we practice it. So what I'm suggesting further is that this way of managing is revolutionary. So if what we know about the Toyota production system or lean production is revolutionary, this is an absolute revolution for management. This way of managing provides extraordinary focus, direction, or control. Right? I'm working with my mentor who's giving me questions, who's guiding me so I don't go off the rails too much. At the same time, maximum flexibility because no one's telling anyone exactly what to do. So for any problem that I have, I can pursue I can pursue all sorts of solutions that I want to pursue. Okay? So I'm suggesting that this way of working can resolve the age-old dilemma that encumbers all large organizations. And by large organization, I mean anything over 5 people. Of control versus flexibility, direction versus adaptability. So I'm going to also maybe slightly oversimplify, but I don't think it's actually, I'll take that back. I don't think it's an oversimplification. All organizational theory is built around answering one very simple dilemma, which is, so if there are 200 people here now, you can't have one person telling 200 people what to do when, or one person telling 1,000 people what to do when, right? Obviously. But neither can you have 1,000 people doing what they want when they want to. This is the challenge. I mean, that's it. That's it. We read tremendous books, that make that very complex. But that's the problem. And therefore, we organize ourselves in different ways, hierarchically, with line item authority, and then we come up with a matrix. We do all these different things to try to deal with that. And I'm suggesting that this way of working, the organic dynamics involved in this way of managing people makes the dilemma melt away. You get the control and the direction, but you get the flexibility. You get direction and adaptability, both at the same time. By the way, we are managing people at the DNA level. If we can do it. If we can pull this off. And I'm suggesting that we can indeed pull this off, that we can do it. So that's an incredible thing right there, right? I believe. So let's go back to this little graphic and this point here. So we're going to develop people through getting the work done. I said before, develop